Welcome to Looking Forward. It's Jeff Abramowitz. I'm so glad to be here. We had a short hiatus during the month of August, but you're listening to PhillyCam TV, and PhillyCam Radio, WPPM LP Philadelphia 106.5. We are live streaming. We're on Xfinity 66, 966, Vios TV 29 and 30, Roku, and Apple TV. And this is WPPM and PhillyCam, and we are celebrating an amazing week here at PhillyCam. It's community media as community care. And I'm so glad and so excited, number one, to be back on the show because we took a short break in the month of August and came back, or actually the month of September, and we're back on our feet. We are excited. And what better way to start it off with Power Media and our PPM Fest, which is a week of media and attention to all the great work being done at PhillyCam. We're really excited about the week and this specific episode and show. So People Powered Media Fest is the theme of the show today is proving that community cares. And I cannot think of any better guests than the guests we have on today. Really excited. We have Jandai Harel will be with us from the Center for Returning Citizens. We have Sarah Savage and Adam Al-Assad from Savage Sisters. They're doing amazing work throughout Philadelphia and in Kensington and South Philadelphia. And then we're a little surprised. I've been on doing this show for almost a little over 3 years. And everyone, most of my listeners know that, I do work for the Looking Forward program at Jeffs Human Services. And I really have not highlighted the great work that's being done in North Philadelphia by some of our staff. But today we're looking at our volunteers. I have two amazing men on. Jerry Hemingway and John Wamble is going to share with you some of the work that they're doing for the men and women that walk by our offices, that are coming home from our city jails as well as our county prisons. And we're going to go there in a little bit. So we're going to take a quick break. And I will tell you that we're going to be back. But when we come back, we're going to bring you up to speed on all the good things that have been going on in reentry and criminal justice in Philadelphia. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Looking Forward. Jeff Abramowitz here. And I will tell you that it's been a busy few months for us. While the summer was winding down, so much has been happening. So I want to take a minute or two before we bring our first guest on and share a little bit of the goodness that's been happening in reentry and justice in Philadelphia. First is we were able to launch a program in Philadelphia called Philadelphia Safe Return Home. So this program is sponsored by the city of Philadelphia, and they used some CARES Act money that came through to supply us with cell phones, laptops, food gift cards, PPE, hygiene kits, and the list goes on of supplies for men and women that have come home from prison during the pandemic. So if you're coming home or you've come home from Philadelphia County Jail, reach out to us. Give us a call. Say, Jeff, what do you got? How can you help us? And all these things are totally free. The only requirement is that you have to have come home from State Road within the last year. So it's a great program. Matter of fact, one of our guests today is overseeing some of it and Looking Forward in North Philadelphia, make it super easy for you to get. So some of the other things that have happened, I want to catch up on. 3 months ago, 2 months ago, we had George Little from the Department of Corrections on as a guest. And he was really gracious talking about the challenges that he had. Really honest and candid, decent guy. I've known George for a few years and was really not only surprised, but excited to see that he took the position as secretary of our DOC, Department of Corrections for Pennsylvania. And we wish George good luck. And we hope that, and we want to invite him on the show. I know Lou Narvaez and Christian Stevens from the DOC and Probation and Parole are usually on the show. Both of them had a conflict today and weren't able to come on, but I know they will be in the future, and we invite Secretary Little to join us again to share his perspective, now maybe from a little bit different perch from his seat. The Philadelphia Reentry Coalition, I will tell you that they recently brought in a lot of new leadership. It's really off to a great start. If you haven't checked out what's going on in the Philadelphia Reentry Coalition, check it out. It's Philadelphia Reentrycoalition.org. And when you go on their website, ton of resources. You really find out some of the programs that are going on, but really who to talk to that's doing the work in Philadelphia when it comes to reentry. Speaking of platforms, we were able to launch several weeks ago a platform called Reunite Us. So Reunite Us is kind of this platform or network hub that connects people to people that need reentry services or support services. So I'm really excited about being able to pilot this in Pennsylvania and here in Philadelphia. So we're going to be reaching out to a lot of our partners and seeing how you might be able to join the network. It's a great way to make a really direct handoff to people that need supports from reentry. So a few more things I want to tell you. One is probably one of the most exciting things on my list right now is that about 3 weeks ago, I was able to go down to Delaware and went to a place called Second Chances Farm. And this is a building down in Delaware, not far from Wilmington, where you walk in and you go to this big kind of giant open warehouse. And then all of a sudden it opens up and inside is a aquaponics plant. Now, I will tell you, I got so energized. Number one, because these guys are growing fruit and vegetables and flowers and all this good stuff 24/7, 365 days a year. It's really incredible. And they're feeding the community, which is even nicer. This aquaponics plant is run by men and women that have been justice involved. And I was really excited to walk through it and even more excited to begin discussions of how we could bring this project here to Philadelphia to share with our local community. So thank you, Ajit George, who's down at Second Chances Farm. And I will also give another shout out to, there's been so many people that have been writing letters to us, the Looking Forward Show, and to me personally. I promise you, just a little backed up, but I respond to every single letter I get, especially if you're listening inside State Road or at the DOC. I promise I will get to your letters and respond in kind for all the nice words and questions that you have regarding your support. So last thing I want to mention is that this Thursday starts a class called Untapped Talent. One of the challenges in Pennsylvania and across the country is getting men and women that are justice involved into careers. And we're trying to break through this with employers across the country. So we decided, myself and Andrea Temple, who is a professor at Temple University, that we were going to do a class just for employers and HR specialists. And guess what? It is, in fact, free 95, doesn't cost you anything. It's Thursdays, and it'll be the next 4 Thursdays for an hour at lunchtime. We're going to be working with employers and HR specialists, teaching them what they have to know in order to not only get men and women hired that have been through the justice systems, but also how they retain them, how they keep them, what they should know about that. So all of that, I'm really excited. And I'm thrilled to have our next guest on. And the next guest is somebody that I've worked with since I've been home from prison. I'm really excited. But before I bring him on, I want to show you a short little clip. So we'll be right back, and I want to show this to you. Back, and we are here with Shandai Harrell. Shandai, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Jeff.
Congratulations. So I showed you that clip of some pictures today, and I just noticed this right before the show, that one of the clips of the mural, we'll talk about that in a second, but at the bottom of the mural, I'm so sorry, we cut part of the top of your head off, but I did notice at the bottom of the mural, walking past the mural, was Larry Krasner with his cell phone on. I thought that was funny. So, Shandai, how are you? And thank you for joining us.
I'm doing very well. It was a wonderful day. We had the dedication of the Points of Triangulation mural today. And it's a wonderful mural. It's about 20 feet high, about 120 feet long, and it's on both sides of the street at the underpass in between 21st at JFK and 21st and Market. right downtown Center City. And it challenges a viewer on one side of the street. It's 9 formerly incarcerated leaders who are dressed in our prison recreation clothes. And across the street, we're dressed in our freedom clothes. And it challenges the viewer to look at the stigmatization and the degradation that we endured in the prison and the transformation that we facilitated in our lives to get to today and the work that we've been doing for many years in the city of Philadelphia.
I gotta give you such a congratulations. There are very few people in this entire city of Philadelphia deserve that as much as you do, and I'm glad that they didn't tuck it away somewhere like on one of those vacant buildings in North Philly. This is pretty prominent, and I drive by it often. And I was really proud to see your picture up there, and glad that it was dedicated and well deserved. But I think maybe you should give some people some idea of why it's there, because quite honestly, it's the story behind the picture which is the most impactful. First of all, how long have you been home?
I've been home 11 years.
Wow. And since that time, I know you've, like everybody that travels through this journey, there's hills and there's mountains that you go up and you go down, and you've just been able to walk some incredible mountains in the work that you're doing. In particular, you started TCRC, correct? The Center for Returning Citizens.
Yes. TCRC Philly has been around since about 2012. We have gone through several shifts in our mission, but our basic mission started out to be helping formerly incarcerated people to find housing, find employment, and connect with the necessary resources to move them forward. About 2 years ago, we transformed to the TCRC Community Healing Center, because one thing we really have been focusing on is helping formerly incarcerated people, their families, and their communities to heal from the trauma of mass incarceration, the trauma of gun violence, and the many justice impacted situations they've found themselves in, so that they can not only begin new lives, but sustain their lives. And our organization and our work is not just for folks who are first coming home, it's for folks who have been home for quite some time. It's for anyone who is formerly incarcerated, justice impacted on probation and parole, and really seeks to change their lifestyle, change their pattern of living, and maintain their freedom. That's the most important, maintaining our freedom.
Yeah, and that's the root of it. Just keeping people on the right path so they can get over some of the barriers and challenges that are ahead of them. Over the past few years, I know TCRC has been doing some great work, sponsoring a lot of different programs, getting involved in a lot of different projects. Most recently is what's touched me the most, I guess. I don't think in the last year, since the pandemic's been going, I don't think there's been a week that I've driven by your store, which used to be up on Broad near Erie, and not seen a line of people outside waiting for food support. Can you tell us a little about how that got started? And it turned into this gigantic project just from you finding a need. But if you could tell us a little bit about that.
So during the beginning of the pandemic, we really realized how the economic conditions was going to impact our community in terms of food scarcity. And we reached out to 2 amazing community activists, Anna Pernig and Hassan Freeman, and they linked us with sharefood.org, a incredible organization that's on Huntington Park in North Philadelphia. And they invited us to become a food distribution center in June of 2020. And we did so well over that summer that by September, they invited us to become a full-fledged food pantry. And we spent about a year and a half at 3609 North Broad Street. We recently moved to 3933 Germantown Avenue, which is just a few blocks away. And we've been averaging between 6,000 and 7,000 individuals per month that we feed. It averages out to about 1,100 to 1,300 families And Share Foods has a wide variety of foodstuffs. We receive 10 skids of food every Friday. In addition, we've been able to reach out to other community partners and acquire other food. And our hashtag is feeding Philly families. It's one thing to help people find jobs, to link them to resources, to give them counseling and encourage them about moving in the right direction. It's an entirely another thing to give them bags of groceries, chicken and eggs and milk and canned goods to feed their families. This has been one of the most rewarding things that TCRC has done during the life of our organization.
I can't tell you how many. I mean, I've been up there several times on your giveaway days, and the smile on people's faces is just remarkable, and the appreciation. But more than that, it's not just product. I mean, it's really healthy product that people can, that's nutritious, that obviously is feeding their families. Just incredible. And I know that it hasn't just been on Broad Street or on Germantown that you're doing this. We bumped into each other in front of Eastern State Penitentiary one night. I think it was a Friday night that you guys were out there giving out some food to the community. So it's not just limited to North Philly. You're hitting around everywhere.
And it's not just limited to Philadelphia. We've gone to Vineland, New Jersey, to Newark and Trenton, New Jersey. We really go where the need is. And in addition to our Friday giveaway and our pop-up food giveaways at 39 and 33 Germantown Avenue from 9 to 4 daily, we have almost looks like a Philadelphia poppy store where you walk in and you shop right off the shelves, and you can come to Monday through Thursday. You can come to one time to our storefront and get food, and then you're always welcome to come back on Friday for our major giveaway.
Yeah, it's not even just food. I've walked in there. You have clothing, you have shoes for women and children. I know we've donated some stuff there, diapers and things. You got just about everything, and obviously you're touching a community that really needs it right now with that pandemic and striving. If you wanted to get involved with TCRC and help you in any way, whether it's financial or just through time, how could they reach out to your organization and to you?
So they could reach out to me at Jondhi, JONDHI .TCRC Healing Center at gmail.com. You can also go to our Instagram, TCRC Philly, or our Facebook, the Center for Returning Citizens. And our phone number is 215-791-0645.
Awesome. Give that to us one more time.
215-791-0645 is our telephone number.
There you go.
And the email is Jondhi, JONDHI .TCRC Healing Center at gmail.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Jondhi. We're going to post that up, make sure everybody gets it. One last thing, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up, but I know that we've been friends, and there's, since I've been home, there are very few people that I know that really fit that classification of friend for me. But we've been friends since I've been home, and started with some work we did in Just Leadership. We were both Just Leadership Fellows. But I would tell you that I want to give you our deepest sympathies from the station, from our show. I know that you lost your mom and your dad within the last very short period of time. And our sympathies go to you and your entire family. And I know that they meant a lot to you. And we saw that in in all the time that in the posts that you had with your dad in his last days. So, again, our sympathies to you. And can't thank you enough. Again, this is what it's all about. This is proving that community does care. And here at PhillyCam, we want to make sure that people know that there are good people in our community doing amazing things, and Jondhi Harrell is one of them. So thanks for being on and sharing today. We're going to be back in a minute. We're looking forward, and we're going to be with the Savage Sisters and learn all about the And looking forward. Jeff Abramowitz here. And hi, Sarah. Look at that smile. Hi. How are you? You think you're muted? We'll get you on to fix
Hey,
that
what's
one.
up? I'm good.
There you go. Good to see you. So I'm so grateful that you're on. This is Sarah Savage from Savage Sisters. I know your brother Adam's here. We're going to bring him on in a minute, but first we're going to start with you because we know you're the rock star of the group. But first of all, thank you so much for coming on today. I'll let you talk about Savage Sisters in a second, but I have to tell you the story and the story of how we met. I've been working with a young lady for a bit who unfortunately took her life, and we I did not know at the time that you were at the funeral and you hosted it. It was down on the pier, the Race Street Pier, and I remember because they had balloons and candles that you guys set off, and it was a real tribute to her. And I know her family was there because I'd worked with her mom. But I found out recently when you and I connected that you were actually ran the event and you were good friends with her and worked with her. So I appreciate you so much for the work that you do. So welcome. And why don't you tell us a little bit about Sarah?
About me?
Sure.
Okay. My name is Sarah Laurel. I am the founder and executive director at Savage Sisters. We started Savage Sisters kind of in response when I got sober. I was recovering from substance use disorder and homelessness, and we wanted to provide a safe space for women to come and recreate their lives. And we also wanted to be able to give them things that I was never offered certain things. When I first started trying to come through this cycle, and it turned out that, therapy and yoga and meditation and different things like that really helped me to have sustainability within my long-term sobriety. And so we wanted to have a house that offered that free of charge to anybody that was living in our program.
Awesome. So how did you come up with the name Savage Sisters?
So when I was actually thrown out of a window in Kensington and I was wearing a dress that said Savage, and I was in the intensive care unit, and the only thing that I could see from my bed was this clear plastic hospital bag, and inside of it was the Savage dress, and in gold bold letters it said the word Savage. And I Googled it, and I was in the hospital for a while. I had to get metal put in my body and learn how to walk again, and it's the first word that stuck out to me was ferocious. And so the idea behind it was a sisterhood of women that are chasing their recovery as ferociously as they chase the drug.
Wow, impactful. So I'm going to bring it's your brother, correct, Adam?
Adam, yeah.
There you go. Hi, Adam. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Jeff?
Good, good. Thank you for joining us too. And so I'm curious a little bit about what Savage Sister is. Like, where do you?
We lost you, Jeff.
Wait, there you go. Is that better?
Yep.
There you go. So I'm curious a little bit about what you guys do and talk a little about Savage Sisters and the work you guys are doing in Kensington and also in South Philly.
So the work that we do in Kensington is pretty different than the work that we do in South Philly. The work that we do in South Philly is with people who are in early recovery. The work that we do in Kensington is with people who are in active addiction. In Kensington, we do outreaches every Thursday night at 6:30 at Needle Park, and every third Saturday of the month at 9:30 a.m., all at Needle Park. You guys disappeared. Can you still?
We can still hear you. You're good.
Oh, great. The outreaches that we conduct are meant to keep people alive, to give them a chance to then get into recovery. So we hand out harm reduction equipment, which includes clean needles, Narcan, which prevents accidental overdoses, among a bunch of other items. But essentially what we're trying to accomplish is keeping people from dying while they're in their active addiction, and then giving them the resources they need to get into recovery. So we provide them with transportation to rehabs. We set them up with appointments at rehabs. And when they finish, if they're willing and able, they can come back to our recovery houses. So it's a full circle. We get them off of the street, get them into treatment, and then give them the resources they need to stay in recovery when they get out. Our recovery houses in South Philly are for men and women. We started with just women's houses, but now we have men's houses as well because we just kept encountering people who we would get off of the street who wanted somewhere to go when they finished rehab.
So, we always say that that when there's a problem that needs to be dealt with, it's the people that get off their butt and actually do something about it that are the ones that are so passionate about the work they do, but they are so purposeful. And I will tell you, they're the people that government and people that are trying to solve these problems should look to for the solutions. And I'm so proud of you because, quite honestly, I look at Kensington and say doing nothing in Kensington or in some of the challenging areas of Philadelphia that have drug issues, doing nothing is just not an option. It's just not an option for us. And yet we just haven't figured out how to do what you're doing, which is really getting down, getting dirty, and doing the hard work. If I first, I want to talk about Kensington a little bit because we've been working on a project in Kensington to look at some transitional housing there and support. And I drove by a building that we're looking at, and literally saw 4 people right in front with needles actually still sticking out of their arms. And I just can't, for the life of me, grasp by why we can't, as a city, as a community, just dig in and start servicing, start doing what you're doing to help those people. And you mentioned a little bit about the work you do in Kensington. I know you do some giveaways in Kensington regularly, correct?
Yeah, every Thursday night and every third Saturday of the month. Yep.
Well, and you mentioned Needle Park. Can you educate us a little bit? Where is Needle Park?
Needle Park is McPherson Square. So there's actually a library, and it's 601 East Allegheny Avenue. It's locally known as Needle Park just because of the fact that it's littered with drug paraphernalia and used syringes. It is actually McPherson Square Park. And we don't just do McPherson Square Park. We also go up to Hope Park. We walk up and down Kensington Avenue. We go into the little cuts where encampments are starting to pop up. And the idea is we work on, we safely dispose of drug paraphernalia and syringes because there is a residential community that is really being impacted negatively by all of this stuff. So we try to clean up when we go. We distribute food, clothing, shoes, harm reduction kits. We do wound care. And we've also partnered with the Department of Health so that our outreaches have the Hep A vaccine as well as the COVID vaccine.
So when someone goes through your program, they often go to some treatment or they're in some treatment protocol, or you help them get some treatment protocol. Tell us about your living environment. I mean, is there group sessions there? Is there therapy that they're getting and help when they're living in one of your homes?
So the houses they're safe and they're structured, and they're trauma informed. So everybody that moves in, it's a community setting. The nonprofit pays for people to go to dual diagnosis trauma therapy. We do host a weekly meeting with everybody in the house, and we do check-ins. There's a structure as far as getting into a 12-step fellowship to deal with substance use disorder. And then we offer a bunch of different stuff. So Friday nights are kickboxing, Wednesdays yoga, Tuesdays is an in-house big book study, Sundays are house meetings, and then therapy is done on an individual basis with the dual diagnosis trauma therapist. We also do monthly events. We do apiary therapy, which is actually beekeeping with a therapist available to kind of work through PTSD.
Wait, give me this. What exactly do you do?
So the idea behind it, and it's been statistically, it's shown to have some improvements for people with PTSD and anxiety, because the idea is to suit up in a bee suit and work in a honey hive. And it's a very high anxiety space to be surrounded by bees. And then what happens is you remove the bee suit and you step away from the hive and you work with the trauma therapist, and they talk about physical triggers, what your body felt like you tap in you're mindful, like I felt hot, I felt afraid. How did I breathe through that? The idea is to get yourself to a space where you might be triggered or feel afraid, and learn how to safely work through that trigger without doing something aggressive or
Wow.
potentially dangerous in the future.
That's kind of cool. Is Savage Sisters for everyone? I mean, are there people that maybe aren't right for your program?
No, so we would love it if it was for everybody, but not everybody needs that kind of structure to have long-term sobriety. For us, we do a pretty thorough intake with each person that calls, and we let them know that this is not just, a bed and don't get high or drink. This is much more structured. Our goal is whole health management. We don't want you to just stay sober and white knuckle it. We want you to heal, like deep healing, and really work on yourself and address some things that have been the reason for this high recidivism rate of relapse and reentry into jails, institutions, and all that.
Yeah, so one of the big things that I've been pushing is, we talked about the reentry process and people coming home. John Dye, I know is really familiar with the process and, works with a lot of individuals that come home. But the reality is that there's very little, if any, treatment at all that's given behind the walls. And just imagine if we could have Savage Sisters or some programming that really did robust programming before men and women came home, that it started behind the walls and it continued when they get out. I just don't believe, just like I don't believe that just because you get a job, your addictions go away and you're healed, right? I think this is something that is with you. It's like my number. My ID number 617-640-66. It's something that's always with me. It will never go away. And I don't think addiction's any different. I think it stays with you all the time. It's something that you have to constantly work at. And it's almost a job. It's something that, you have to keep in check and you have to keep at it. And that's why I think what the work that Savage Sisters is doing by giving you all these other alternatives, these other things that can relieve some of that stress and keep you mindful about the whole approach is really incredible. I want to take the kickboxing one for sure, because I think that'd be kind of fun. But I'm curious if men and women wanted to reach out to your program and get some more information. How would they do that? How could they contact you?
So they can reach out via the website, savagesisters.org, or they can always email myself. I'm Sarah, Sarah, at savagesisters.org, or my brother, Adam, which is Adam, at savagesisters.org. We're pretty quick with our responses, and we're always here. And if they want to join our outreaches, everything's listed on our website, and we could always use donations, clothing, sneakers are in high demand, and things like that. There's a lot of ways that the city and the community can really jump in and help save lives.
So, Sarah, I'd be remiss if I didn't raise this issue. So, there's been a lot of talk, and both from both sides, about on the needle exchanges and places that people can safely get needles. And there's arguments on both sides. I wanted to give you some space to talk about it because I think people need to be educated to what the issue is and how, and let them make their own minds up. But, my job is to raise it and to have some discussion about it. But I'm really interested because you and I have had this discussion before. But regarding needle exchanges, what's the why? Why should we be doing it?
At this point, it lowers the rate of diseases that are being transmitted within the community that's actively using. So it's a health concern.
Yeah.
I'd like to touch on that, Sarah.
Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
So for a long time, I'm not personally in recovery. I have a lot of my friends and family who are in recovery or who are in active addiction. And I, for a long time, didn't even agree that we should be providing those materials to people. However, after seeing what was happening firsthand, after going to Kensington and going and walking around Needle Park firsthand, which for most of up until 3 years ago, I had never been there. When I walked through that park and I saw the third world conditions that were there, I realized that we needed to do anything that we possibly could to simply show these people some love. As we say, we're attacking addiction ferociously with radical love through connection. By providing the resources that they want and need, we're establishing a connection with them. And regardless of whether we give them clean needles to use or not, they are going to use their drugs. There is absolutely no way that somebody who wants to use heroin is not going to use it because they don't have access to a clean needle. They're just going to use a dirty needle that they picked up off of the ground or that they got from somebody right next to them. And when they do that, they're potentially giving them contracting deadly diseases, so that when they finally do decide that they're ready to get into recovery, when they hit their bottom and they decide to go to rehab and get sober, then they have to come out and they have to live with a disease throughout that process. And we can stop that from happening simply by providing them clean needles. And that's kind of the mentality for everything that we provide. Anything that we give to people who are in active addiction isn't enabling them to use, because they would be using 100% either way. Whether they have clean socks or not, it's not going to stop them from using. It's just going to stop them from having blisters on their feet while they are using, and establish a connection so that they might be willing to get into treatment and get into recovery.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great stuff. So here again is another reason why Proving That Community cares. You know, we see people that are really put their either their actions with their words, and they're out on the streets doing good work. And that's really what it's all about in Philadelphia, is making it happen. This is an issue that has been bad in Philadelphia during COVID. It's gotten worse, and it's really a challenge, but I'm so grateful. I'm hoping that our listeners and people that are out there that can really, that maybe have the financial means or just the manpower or the legs or woman power to want to jump into this issue, to reach out to Adam and Sarah and say, how can we help? What else can we do? How can we support this work? Because again, I think doing nothing in this issue is just not an option right now. We have to jump in and do it. So I appreciate both of you. Again, if we wanted to reach you, how could we get hold of Savage Sisters? Either one.
www.savagesisters.org. It's got all our contact information on there. It's got all of our events that are coming up and all the resources that we provide.
So one of the other issues we talked about our last show was the issue of gun violence, and gun violence in Philadelphia is off the charts, and something that is sometimes drug related, sometimes not, but no question about it that we have to tackle these issues by having good programming, and programming like TCRC and the work that Savage Sisters is doing is a great first step. So we want you guys to hang out. We're going to bring you guys back in John Diet after our next guests come on. But I've been doing this show for a little over 3 years, and quite honestly, I've talked about the work that we're doing at Looking Forward, the Philadelphia Reentry Program, but I've never talked about behind the scenes of some of the amazing people that work for me. We had Nate Szilard on, who's been co-host on the show every now and then, but I want to share with you the next two guests in a minute. I just want to play a short little clip for you. We'll be right back. This is Looking Forward Show. Back at Looking Forward, and I have two gentlemen I want to introduce you to, John Wambald and Jerry Hemingway. How are you guys?
Very good. Thank you.
Doing great, John. Great.
Good. So I should tell you them a little bit of history, and then we'll ask you some questions. But John and Jerry have been volunteering for the Looking Forward program for a bit now, and they are the front of our office. So they work at our front desk, and they have been doing this just incredible job. But if you saw in some of the pictures, Looking Forward is a really holistic program to reentry. So although we do a lot of career development and career placement, and I say career, not job, career placement. What we also do is we try to meet people where they are and give them those supports that they need. Now, I'm going to tell you quite frankly that I wouldn't even consider doing what John Dye does, because I don't think anybody could tackle food nutrition the way he's done it in North Philadelphia. But we do things a little differently where we are. We find a need in trying to help people get back to work. And then we say, what else do you need? What are the other challenges? And what we found is some crazy answers. Like John will tell you, diapers. We stock up on diapers of all sizes, and John graciously goes out and picks them up for us from a donor that we have. And people come in now and they say, I need some diapers. And, if it makes their life a little bit easier, isn't that what it's all about? We recently had a giveaway of children's shoes, and we had a whole bunch of other supplies. We have women's feminine products. And these are the guys that actually not only give the handout and make sure we find out what they need, but they do it with such passion. So thank you, both of you, John and Jerry, for all the work you do with Looking Forward, and for the people in North Philadelphia that come in and ask for you. And I have to ask this, so we'll start with Jerry first, because Jerry, you got this amazing talent of just connecting with people right away. And there's not a day, I think, that I've been in our office in North Philly that I haven't seen you. If he's not sitting at his desk, he's out in front of our storefront, and he's actually talking to people, getting them to come in. So, Jerry, thank you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're so passionate about this topic?
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jerry Hemingway. I truly believe that I was put on this earth to help people. I've been helping people since I was like 13 years old. And I had a lot of jobs. I started my own business. At the age of 35, I was a real estate investor. So I got injured at one of the sites. So I was unable to work anymore. So I was home and I got bored. And then I saw a television commercial. It was a commercial about the American Red Cross. They were covering some type of disaster. So I said, I would like to do that. So I joined the American Red Cross. And I was a volunteer there for 10 years in emergency management. So I was a local and national responder. I covered hurricanes, tornadoes, and stuff like that. I covered most of the fires in the city of Philadelphia. And that was a real good feeling to help someone who just had a fire, they lost everything, and the services that we provide. So after that, I found out about JEVS. I learned that through the Philadelphia prison system. So I joined the team, and I was welcomed by Jeff, John, Nate, Jackie, Cheryl, Pam. Everybody just welcomed me with open arms. And the work that we do here is very fulfilling. Out of all the jobs I had, even my own business, running my own business, the most rewarding thing that I've ever done is providing volunteer services.
Awesome. So Jerry is the one who brings in, there's one in every group where they bring in the donuts every morning. So this is Jerry. Jerry keeps us fed. He brings in the donuts and the fruit. I saw there was some apples and oranges there. He keeps all the food flowing in the office pretty good. So we appreciate you for that. John, welcome aboard and thank you for all you do. I know you've been making runs on diapers, and I was wondering if you could tell us a little about why you got involved with Looking Forward, and what do you do for us? Like, actually, what's the work that you've been doing?
Well, I've done community service most of my life, and I was looking for something to do, and I believe it was looking on United Way or one of those websites looking for different opportunities, and I saw Looking Forward, and I thought, boy, that sounds interesting. And it's been this week marks 6 months that I've been here. And some of the things I've done are there's been a reentry payment program from the city of Philadelphia where people that were in the city prisons between March 1st of 2020 and June 30th of 2021 could apply for a $500 payment from the city of Philadelphia. And I think we've processed somewhere north of 100 or 130 of those payments. So that's taken a lot of time. Most recently, there's the Safe Return Home program where all someone needs, someone that was in a city prison, all they need is an ID, their PP number, and a release date, and we can get them a brand new cell phone, a refurbished computer, a $50 food card from ShopRite, personal care items, masks, and hand sanitizer. It's a very easy process. Today was really interesting. A woman brought two girls that had just been released from prison recently. One girl in particular said the sheriff dropped her off at her aunt's house with only the clothes on her back. And today we got her some communication with a phone. We sent through another organization. She filled out a request for clothing. And they left very happy. They started this morning not knowing this was going to happen, and they left with a real smile on their face. But anyway, that's a program that's still available. If anybody, again, has an ID, has a PP number, it's been in the city prison system, and has a release date, come on in, and we can take care of you. Other things we do, the diapers. People have come in with either, in one case, I think Jerry saw somebody walking by with pushing a baby carriage, and they came in and they had like 3 young girls, and we supplied them with diapers. We also have, and I don't think anybody else knows this because it's in the corner of Jeff's office, we do also have some baby formula. That's the first time we've had that. I don't think that's gotten out yet, but we do have baby formula. But we have had some other people where we provided, they needed clothing, housing, paid person stays that helps people get housing, and also with education and training. And Jerry himself spends a lot of time on the education and training. So it's been very, very, yes.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I want people to understand this. So this is, John, you don't live in Philadelphia, correct?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah,
Jeff.
you don't live in Philadelphia, correct?
No, I lived in Montgomery County.
Yeah, so this is an individual who lives in, so this is going out to all our suburban friends. Everyone that thinks you can't do anything because you don't live in the city to make a difference. You can. You can. You can find a place like TCRC and John Dye. You can find Savage Sisters and Sarah. You can talk to Adam. You can talk to Jerry. There are places that you can go that you can assist and you can do some great work. So everyone that's in the counties that thinks they can't do anything in Philadelphia to help us, if you lived here, you grew up here, you want to come into the city and help, there are places that you can engage in and do it. And John's living proof of that. John commutes from North Wales in Montgomery County to get into Philadelphia to do this. And it's just remarkable. They both are very passionate about what they do. What would you say the most, it's funny, so many stories are going through my head right now because I remember last week we gave enough stuff for someone who was had a baby on the way that they actually had a bridal shower for her in North Philadelphia, and she got a crib and she got diapers, she got all the things she would need. She could never have afforded, once the baby's coming, it took a load off her back. But I'm curious, what are the things that are impactful? What drives you to do what you do?
I tell you, the thing that I think is most heartwarming is, and frustrating too, is people that come in that don't have a place to live. And I remember one case, there was a gentleman called up, and you could hear in the background movement and things going on. And he and his wife, and I think they had 3 children, were being evicted that day, and they had no place to go. And that's something that to be honest with you, going forward, I'd love to be able to find a situation where you could find places where people can go and be off the streets. Yeah. There's other people that have come in that have, there was actually a gentleman stopped in today. He's been living off the streets, I think, for the last 9 years. And, it breaks your heart. So that's very impactful.
Definitely, it's going to take a village. Definitely take a village to make change happen. But you both have done remarkable things. I know Jerry keeps the office in ship shape, and he runs that front end. But people feel comfortable when they walk in, and it's one of the grateful things about where we are is, there's no security, there's no metal detectors. You walk in, you sit in our lounge, you can talk, and you can have something to drink and eat, and just and feel at home. And that's really what it's all about, some dignity with all of this. So even during the challenging times, I just want to give a special thanks to both of you for all the great work you're doing. And we appreciate you looking forward and in Philadelphia. So thank you very much. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to bring everybody back on for some final comments, and we'll be right back and looking forward. We are back and looking forward. Look at this. Look at the crew that I got on. So this is Philadelphia, and this is really proving that community does care. And I'm touched because I see the work that you all have been doing, and you touch so many lives across the board with the work that you're doing and your passion. I just wanted to go around the horn, and if everybody could just tell, if you had one message to Philadelphia that was how we could make community care a little bit better, what would that message be? John Dye, you want to lead us off on that one?
I think that one of the primary problems right now in Philadelphia is gun violence. And I think that this can be attacked by true collaboration between the formerly incarcerated, who have the respect of young guys in the street who are doing the shooting. So many times we see protests and we see community events, and the shooters are never there. The ones who are being impacted are never there. So it's reaching the young people who are in our neighborhoods and helping the formerly incarcerated who are determined to make a difference in the community to connect, to fund our organizations, and to make sure that our message of mentoring and hope and redemption reach young people in the street. And that's the reality. And also linking up, we belong to Unite Us, which is the new platform that Jevs is promoting. And I think it's really important that organizations like Savage Sisters, TCRC, we do work in Kensington, Rock Ministries. I think that it's important for us to connect. So many times we are working in solos. You have organizations working on reentry, working on stop the violence, working on food scarcity. I just met doing some incredible work in Kensington, and they're feeding mad people. Before last week, I didn't know about them. So we really need to investigate, see who's doing what, pool our resources, our knowledge, our energy, and work together.
You got it. John Dye, thank you so much for being on. Congratulations on your mural. Sarah, give it to us. What do you got? Give me one message.
I would just say that, I love this city. I love it a lot. And trying to shed all of the judgments that we have of what other people's struggles may look like. And really just love each other radically. And show up. Because the pulse of this city, it's everybody from Rittenhouse Square to Kensington and Needle Park. That's Philly. Whether you like it or not, we're all one community. We're one pulse. And we all need to join together and get in where you fit in. Go to a soup kitchen, distribute stuff in Kensington, go to an old folks home and give somebody a hug who hasn't had one in a while. It doesn't matter how you get in service, just get in service.
There you go. Put it into action. Put it into action. John or Adam, you want to go real quick?
Absolutely. I would just like to touch on what Sarah and John D said. Essentially, addiction and violence kind of go hand in hand. People who are in active addiction are experiencing violence. They're perpetrating it, experiencing it either way. So do anything, be aware of this, and anything you can do to help these people, please do so. You can do that by contacting local nonprofits, your city, your councilman, anybody at all. But do your best to attack addiction ferociously with radical love through connection, because that's how we will stop the violence in our city.
Awesome. Good words. Good words. John or Jerry, either one. You got something you want to say? Close us
Okay,
out.
real quick.
Yep.
I would like to thank the few companies that have opened their doors for people who are just released from prison. Hatfield, Delaware Valley, Floral Group, and I also want to get a message out to the other companies in Philadelphia and New Jersey. I'm asking you to open your doors, give people a second chance. A lot of people that come out of prison, they want to do the right thing. All they need is an opportunity, get a job, they can pay their bills, take care of their family. So
Good
that's my
words.
message out there.
Good words. John, real quick.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that as well. I think employers need to know that there are good people there. They may have made a mistake at one time in their life, but they deserve a second chance. The other thing is, I think somehow the word of what everybody, all the different organizations have been on here today, as well as all the others, the word needs to get out to people as to what's going on. And I'm not sure what the solution is to do that, but most people don't know. I mean, even here at Looking Forward, most people came in today, and we had a big rush today, said, geez, we never even knew you were here. We never knew what you did. And I think the word with the other two organizations as well just needs to get out.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to our great guests today. It's been a pleasure. Now you can see why I had them on, for proving that community cares. And we are, in fact, in the middle of PPM Fest and the events, the People Powered Media events for the week here at PhillyCam. Just want to raise a few of them in the last minute or two. That the events this week, there are many. If you go onto PhillyCam, onto our website, you'll get to see some of the events. But in particular, Indigenous Peoples Day is October 10th and 11th. There's some great events going on that day. Free Speech Week is October 18th to 24th. A Community Day is October 20th, and there's a Community Media Day. Is an annual celebration of voices that brings awareness to the importance of free speech and accessible media for all individuals in the community. And then the Media Literacy Week is October 25th through 30th. So if you're curious about events going on for our People Powered Media Fest for the entire month, jump in, check out Philly on the PhillyCam station, and the show will air tomorrow again on PhillyCam, WPPM LP on 106.5 FM. Looking forward to that. We'll be back in a few weeks with another show. Our next episode is going to be about doing time. And we're going to be talking to a whole number of men and women that have done some time inside of our prisons. And they're going to share their experiences behind the walls and as they've traveled through and come home. So looking forward to that. That's going to be on the 19th as our next show coming up. A last comment about looking forward and about the work that's being done. We are looking forward as an organization through JEVS is powerful. This show, for me, has special meaning because it really is, it's about getting the word out of the great people that are doing tremendous things in our city. And they are making community better. They're making they're really making the world a better place. And I thank all of our guests tonight. I thank all of our guests over the course of the last year. They've been incredible in making sure that people are serviced and they're getting the help that they need to survive and to thrive. And that's the big thing. So for us and looking forward, thank you so much. Thank you to PhillyCam for giving us the voice and allowing us to be on the air. And we look forward to being back real soon, probably on the 19th of October with our next show. So we're going to close out now and wish everybody a good day. And thank you again.